I think it's scary times we're living in now because of all the changes due to that.
It's it's been scary the whole time. The
True.
fascism almost came in the 30s. Like imagine if they had won. Imagine
Oh,
if
geez.
they hadn't they hadn't gone for Moscow. I mean, just switch a few facts around.
Yeah.
It's been scary times all the way around. I mean, it was scary. I mean, as a child, I knew something scary was going on when John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
Oh, yeah.
The dream was assassinated. The Camelot vision of the world was assassinated.
Yeah.
And, and I watched Richard Nixon get in there and be a liar and a swindler. I watched Ronald Reagan and his creeps come in there. And we, even watched George Bush start this other war. That, ISIS and all the stuff that's going on right now with the fear of Muslims and what's going on. I used to love to go to Amsterdam and just go to the Palestinian shops I'd know about and taste their baklava and just shuck and jive. And I loved it. I loved it. I learned Muslim words and, I just loved it. I don't go in there anymore. I went in a few times and, the older people were okay, but the young ones just kind of looked at me like, Whitey, white guy from George Bush, America, they've got tight-lipped, and that's so freaking sad.
Yeah.
Instead of becoming the world becoming this better place where we understand each other, it becomes this more fearful world.
That's it. We're living in fear right now. Everyone, in one way or another, is living in fear.
The terrorism is a whole angle. I mean, you folks have had to deal with the IRA and the thing that was going on with Northern Ireland, abusing the Irish Catholic population there. But terrorism in the United States is fairly a new thing. I mean, it's not totally,
Yeah, we had it in the Civil War.
But the amount of what's going on, there's been mass killings of 35 people. And, 3 or 4 of them in the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah. I mean, just horrendous, the largest killings ever. And America is this gun society that's out of his mind. I know you just had the Manchester or the Birmingham?
Manchester,
where the bomb went off. I was just watching that maybe a month ago or something.
Yeah, it was about 2 months.
We were booked to play in Turkey, and they wouldn't let us in. But the whole time I was wondering, I like pushing everything. I want Turkish people to see me in their environment. I want to love them. But I know there's a lot of stuff going on there that's beyond me. There's governments, and there's government agents, and there's gangs, and there's provocateurs, and then just whatever. And there's ISIS, and there's, And I was wondering, we had my drummer's son with me, and can I promise safety? I wasn't sure. He ended up going home because I couldn't promise that safety. And there's other reasons he had to go home as well. But, and they didn't let us into Turkey, and I could feel the energy, the vibe. They just kind of froze us for 5 hours in the same place. They're going through our paperwork and stay here, take everything out of the van. All right, move everything over there now. All right, move it back over here. And just like little busy work over 3-4 hours. And finally I just said, I spoke to the promoter in Turkey, in Istanbul. We were about 2 hours from getting to him. It was like 11 o'clock. We weren't going to get to the club till 1 o'clock. And I just said, we've been at the border here for 5-6 hours. I'm just going to see what happens if I say, we're not making it to the show. I don't want to race through Turkey. No. I just don't want it. And I said, the guy understood, the promoter, Turkish guy, he felt terrible about it, but, he said, there's 150, 200 people here waiting for you. I'm sorry, it's just not possible. And I turned to the Turkish border guard who I've been kind of to. He was terse and looking at me all the time. And I said, well, we just want to turn around and go back the other way. Go, that is no problem. Everything is good now. And I had been showing him the book I wrote. He was going through my stuff. And then he said, Can I have one of your books?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he's put up to it.
Yeah, he was doing his job.
And it's just a crazy world. And I realized we were going to go into it, weird situation. And sad part is, and I write about it on one of my blogs, is, what these people are going through. They're westernized. They're fighting for gay rights. They're fighting for liberation on one front or another. Cultural, musical, punk rock, this, that. And so they're in a very scary place. And I thought about the Arab Spring, all these people coming out, Egypt, Algeria, and then they all liberated, and there was no backing for it.
Yes.
And then the conservative elements and the Muslim Brotherhood, they got back in power,
exactly.
And they are harassing the Gay Day marchers. They're harassing, the punk rockers. They're harassing artists and people trying to speak out and be intellectual about these topics, of integration and liberation and
That goes back to what
it's a heavy world we live in.
Yeah.
And it has always been heavy. The guy from Iran who wrote the book, where
Salman Rushdie.
Salman Rushdie talking about, Muhammad and Allah and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, when he had the death warrant on him for
and he
that.
still does, I think, and then those Iranians, pretty relentless, I'm glad for his safety.
Yeah.
But, it's not just us, but it seems like history goes along this path, and it does seem to I think more out now, like by Trump and by Putin, acceptance of authoritarian rule.
Yes.
And, of authoritarianism, and along with that comes a certain kind of, chauvinism and reactionaryism and Hitler, Mein Kampf, my fight, my struggle, what I have to do to, to get my what I got to do to keep my Russia in line, what I got to do to keep my United States in line.
Yeah.
So if I got to raid homes of refugees and separate the parents and children, that's what we'll do. And if families get split up and some people were born in the United States and some go, we don't care. It's my struggle, it's my fight. And
your fight doesn't matter. It's the way they look at it.
And what happens to this kid who gets separated, times 100,000 or whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah, wow. It's just, it's heavy. And it's always been heavy, and,
I don't know if it's the era we're in or the fact that we're getting older, but it just seems to be heavier and heavier the more I read and look.
There seemed like there was this, right after World War II, in America even before him, where things were getting smarter. They created the New Deal under Roosevelt, and we beat back the Axis powers, and we're going to somewhere better where there is a Bill of Rights for a universal Bill of Rights for people to have these freedoms, and that seemed to reach the end. Now it's how we have to deny freedoms.
Yes.
And
how do we take that back?
Right. How do we take that back? And and here we are. We're in that real human space where how do we react to it? How do we save what we have and then move the agenda forward? So there really isn't a world where a third of the people go to bed hungry at night, because that's what's inexcusable. That's inexcusable. The amount they spend on war weapons a year, that is an abomination. It's a mortal sin, and it's evil and ugly, especially in the fact all these people go to bed hungry at night. Children go to bed hungry, especially at night. People are destroying their environments. They're fishing the fish out of the ocean. They're killing all the mammals. Whatever they're doing,
I think
here we are.
We only can hope for the better of that. The people will open their minds and see more.
Yeah, and I think not only hope but work.
Yes, definitely.
And hopefully, your efforts and my efforts and millions of people like us all around the earth, energy pushing the ball forward to a more humane world is going to have its effect, and we're gonna be able to push back the Putins and the Trumps and the
Brexiteers.
axis of evil.
Yes.
Whether it's the Nazis or whether it's anyone who's denying people the right to be themselves, denying them the right to economic justice, and all the other topics. Not to sound so Maoist.
And on that note, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you for being there yourself. We are just people trying to move the ball this way, and so we're trying to work with each other to advance our human family, and we realize what if we don't do it, if everyone falls into if America turns into Russia, where 80% of the people support Donald Trump, and they like the fact he's going to drop a bomb on whoever, and he's going to start a war. Yeah, we should bomb them to exist. We got to do our thing, and here we are with each other. Yes. And hopefully, the people that are getting this get it, or they make them want to think about it, or they can say, "I agree with that. Let me take it to my next step." And whether that's be an artist, whether it's be a journalist, whether it's just be part of the human family that's doing something decent, decency, true decency, not moral bullshit, Christianity, decency, but decency that's based on, granting people the ability to be themselves and to really have a love spirit in your heart.
Be good to each other.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you again, Dave.
Thank you. And this is MPRV News. This is Dave Dictor here. We're talking to you from Leeds, England. And this is August 5th, 2017.
Yep.
And we're playing a great festival here today with Radis. I'm going to go try to find those guys. We're probably on in about an hour. And we're a busy punk rock band. I'm a young man. I'm 31 years old, and I just want to, I'm just glad people are out there, and it's fun to tour and be everywhere. This year we've been everywhere from Jakarta, Indonesia, to Bucharest, Romania. Yeah. It's been a great year, and hopefully we're going to make it to your hometown and home place, and no Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA.